Hello, everybody. Today we have Victoria as our guest expert. Victoria is the food freedom and body love coach. She's going to talk about the psychological aspect of binge eating, of anorexia, of any kind of food disorder. Extremely interesting topic. We've done a lot of different talks on the actual nutrition and how it is to eat healthy. But here we are talking about the psychology behind eating disorders. Hello, Victoria.
Hello, Natalia. Thank you for having me.
And nice to have you on this talk. I would like to ask you to start with actually telling us a little bit about yourself. What's your background? And especially, I'd like to hear, so what is a food freedom and body love coach? Like, who is this person? How can you help people? How do you help people?
Absolutely. So I'll start off by answering the shorter answered question, which is what is food freedom and body love? And then I'll go into my story, which I will also keep short because it's a very long story. So food freedom, let's start there. Food freedom to me is not obsessing about food all the time. So it's having like breaks from your food obsession. A lot of clients I work with are thinking about what they're going to eat for dinner when they're eating breakfast. They're in bed counting calories, like stressing about what they've eaten, what they want to eat. So it's like having that calmness in your mind around food. It's also being able to eat whatever it is that you want to eat, however much you want to eat, however you want to eat it, which I'm sure we're going to go into because that sounds kind of crazy. It's also food freedom is being able to say no, thank you to your favorite foods, even though you know you can have them because you want to take care of your health or you want to not feel so full. It's like the health aspect comes into it as well. And body love to me means loving your body and yourself unconditionally. So it means being grateful for the body you have, being in your body, and not necessarily seeing your body as an object to be looked at or an object to be sexualized by other people. It's being in your body, experiencing life through your body. It can also involve body positivity, which means you look in the mirror and you like the way your physical body looks. It can absolutely have that involved in body love, but it's more so not really having everything linked to your appearance, your self-worth especially. It's just being accepting of the body you have and honoring that as if it's a person who you love very much. So my story, how did I get here? Why is it that I do what I do? Long story short, I was diagnosed with anorexia when I was a teenager, so from the age of 13 to about the age of 19. And then after that time, it was obviously extremely difficult. I was kind of force fed a lot, which kept me alive. Very difficult time for my family as well. Fast forward a couple of years, I found myself in an abusive relationship where I was hit daily, I was raped daily. It was a lot of emotional abuse. I was in that for 6 years. And then during that relationship, I was diagnosed with binge eating disorder. So it was like one extreme to the other. So I'd gone from the anorexia, which of course is the absolute starvation of self and not wanting to eat or drink anything, to the complete opposite, to binge eating, just eating anything and everything. A lot of it was linked to emotional comfort as well. A lot of it was linked to me being in this relationship, not going out with friends, not socializing. I call it the cave. So it was almost like I was disconnected from the real world. So I just turned to food because food was there for me. I left that relationship 6 years later and I found the gym and then became obsessed with the gym. And so the anorexia and the binge eating kind of linked together. And then I was binging and purging. So I was like starving, binging, purging. I was in that cycle until I was 30. And I was diagnosed with bulimia at that time. And then when I was 30, which is actually only 5 years ago, seems like a lifetime ago, I met my fiance who is Dutch and I'm British, but I now live in the Netherlands. I met him on holiday in Egypt. And here I am. And I found personal development through him, which led me into my own healing journey. So then I became certified in psychology, the science of nutrition, spirituality coaching, and then hired my own coaches, mentors, programs, books. Like it's kind of funny how the obsessive, like all or nothingness from the eating disorders attaches to other things. So I used to call myself like a personal development junkie, and I'm working through that aspect of like having to go all in with everything, which served me well because now I'm the coach that I am. I have so much love and compassion for my clients from personal experience, more so than the qualifications. And so I help clients with binge eating, bulimia, anorexia, in the diet binge cycle, body hate, body dysmorphia, to fall back in love with themselves and to have a normal relationship with food.
That is quite a story, in all fairness, to have in your life by such young age. Like, you've experienced a lot and been through a lot. Another thing I wanted to tell is about the body love. Like you said, you're a body love coach as well. So is body love, in your opinion, the same as body positivity? And let me just clarify what I mean here, because being body positive lately been quite trendy. Like, everybody was saying body positive is the same in my niche, right? In face yoga, it's like face positive. But what is it really, in your opinion? Is just allowing yourself anything? People, very unhealthy people, they decided to hide behind body positive, right, movement, and they decided to be the face of it. But is it really the case now? Like, is body positivity related to health in any way? Is body positivity, if you are an obese person or a completely anorexic person, right, if you struggle with this problem, these illnesses, have you ever stumbled upon somebody who said, oh, no, I'm just body positive, I accept myself for the way it is? Because it's a very thin line here, ethically thin line here, right, between being actually healthy and mindful and accepting of your body, and hiding you being unhealthy behind the body positivity movement. What's your opinion on that?
Oh gosh, I have so much to say around this. Let me rein myself in. Where do I even start? Okay. And I'll answer the first question. So body love is different to body positivity. It can encompass body positivity, but I work with more so body neutrality and body acceptance first and foremost. Because even if someone is, quote, unhealthy, I mean, what does health mean? It's like a huge umbrella, like the health umbrella, like can mean nutrition, health, like mental health, like there's so much under the word health. If someone is classed as unhealthy, health isn't a moral issue either. So if someone genuinely doesn't really mind if they're not very healthful, that is also up to them. And it's a case of like loving and accepting that human being for however they are. However, someone that does care about their health and they're struggling with their weight, I mean, talking about weight, I'm actually classed as obese on the BMI scale, which BMI is bullshit, misunderstood information, if you ask me, because everyone has a different body type. And in terms of the word overweight or obese, of course, if you're looking at the extremities like morbidly obese or anorexia, that's not healthy in any context. And there's different things that are going on in both. Obviously, the anorexia is a mental illness, the morbidly obese, I mean, there's so many layers to this. There's a fat gene that has been discovered. There's a great book called The Secret Life of Fat, if anyone is interested. I can't think of the author, but that's a really interesting read to understand the war we have on fat and then what that encompasses and how we show up and how we diet and all of that. And so when I talk now, I'm not going to be talking about the morbidly obese or the anorexic. I'm going to be talking about kind of everyone in between. BMI is, like I said, bullshit, misunderstood information. It's not a helpful gauge of health. There's a great book by Linda Bacon called Health at Every Size. And that has had so much research around the book that she's created that shows that you cannot tell if someone's healthy or not simply by looking at the size of their body. And so obviously it's hard to answer this in a straightforward manner. Myself, for example, I'm classed as obese in a doctor's office, yet my heart rate's really low, I'm really fit, my bloods are perfect, like I'm a very fit and healthy person. Whereas if someone was just looking at my weight and gauging my health off that, then that would be false information. So in terms of body positivity, in my opinion, is being accepting of the body you have, regardless of whether people think it's too big or too small or a different shape or whatever. It's accepting everybody as being able to be alive as a human and be accepted in society. So I do think it's completely okay for everyone to love themselves and love their bodies and practice body positivity, regardless of whether they're healthy or not, because in my opinion, that's like a judgment, like, how dare you be body positive if you're not healthy? But isn't that up to the individual?
That is a very that is a different point of view from what I hear lately. Like that is a very, very nice to hear. But you still work with people, right, that come to you and then they say, I want to be healthy, but I don't know how. Or I actually the opposite. Actually, I am healthy, they say. And then they say, but I eat, that and that and that. That's not healthy. And then like, how do you help? Because you said it's a psychological aspect. So I'm trying to figure it out. How do you help them to understand that it's not healthy without changing their diet? Because they will eventually have to change. If they eat, for example, fast food, right? Like in enormous quantities, and they say, I really want to be healthy, I just can't help myself. I need this so much. Like, how do you change how do you change their opinion on food without changing their diets, right? Because you're saying that you don't really work as a nutritionist, you work with the psychological aspect of food. How does that work?
Yes, great question. So if someone was to come to me and say, I want to be healthy, I want to feel good in myself and my body, these are my behaviors right now, we don't look at the behaviors together because we go to the root cause. Because most people look at the behavior that they're not liking and try and change it on a behavioral level. That doesn't work because we need to go deeper than that. So it goes identity, beliefs, thoughts, feelings, actions, behaviors, results, right? So then everyone is different, but I'll have obviously a long conversation with this person and say, well, what does health mean to you? Because for me, and this is my personal opinion, health to me means physical health, emotional health, and mental health. So for example, when I used to diet and I used to be a chronic dieter, hence all the eating disorders, if I went to a cafe and really wanted a piece of chocolate cake, but in the name of, quote, health, I restricted that and had a salad instead, that may be a physical aspect of health that I'm choosing. But what about my mental health? Because it's all a balance, like an equilibrium together. So that individual who comes to me, who's eating fast food all the time, I'll first of all ask them, what's going through your mind when you're eating the fast food? Because I have never met one single person who binge eats or emotionally eats that doesn't judge or shame themselves around their food choices. And that's emotional restriction. Now, what happens, and this is so crazy how the brain does this, it's very smart, but it's also hard to believe, but it's like proven so many times over and over again. When we think that we shouldn't be eating that, when we think we're shaming ourselves about what food choices we're making, from a biological standpoint, your biology is connected to your psychology. So if you're psychologically thinking, I shouldn't be eating this, I wish I wasn't eating this, I'm bad and wrong for eating this, your biology reacts as if there's going to be a famine or if there's a food shortage, because all it cares about is keeping you alive. It doesn't know that there's an abundant amount of food in the world we live in. Your body only cares about getting enough food. If you're thinking shameful thoughts, if you're scared of food, if you have anxiety around the food you're eating, that sends a response to your biology, must eat high fat, high sugar food now because tomorrow there's not going to be enough, because of the way you're thinking and feeling around the food you're eating. That creates a reaction, which is binge eating, Emotional eating is different, and of course, if you want to ask me about that, I can share. But in context here, I've never met someone who binge eats who doesn't restrict, at least physically or in their mind. And your body, if we was to press a reset button for every single one of us on our bodies want to be healthy. Naturally, our bodies want to thrive. We want to have energy. We want to feel good naturally. It's our birthright. And so when we get out of our own way and focus on our identity, beliefs, and thoughts, the behaviors will take care of itself. When I gave up dieting, I ate chocolate for months without nothing else, which is not good for my physical health. However, I kept allowing, because of all the restriction I'd done in the past through all the eating disorders, I had to keep allowing. My body needed to feel safe. There's enough food. She's not going to restrict again. When my body felt safe that there was enough, I then started to naturally crave vegetables and fruits and green drinks and exercise. There's a quote that I love to use, and that is, when I stopped making salads and exercise feel like punishment, I started to crave them. And so I'll stop there because I could literally keep going, but there's a lot I've just given you.
So that sounds to me like you are basically relying on your intuition. So does that make you an intuitive nutrition coach, or is it something different? Like how is it the same thing? Is it what you preach and teach as well, or is it a completely different approach from yours?
It's similar, but it's different, because dieting is not an action, it's a state of mind, meaning I can have a pint of Ben and Jerry's and not be binging, and I can have a green shake and vegetables all day and not be dieting. It depends on how I'm thinking and feeling about the foods that I'm eating, right? And so in terms of intuitive eating, that can also be made into a diet. And then, so this is what happened with me. So I started intuitive eating. I was like, oh, I found this new movement of body positivity and intuitive movement. Great. And so the guidelines for intuitive eating are to eat when you're physically hungry, to eat what you want, and stop when you feel full. Sounds simple enough. So I started that, but in my mind, because I was a chronic dieter, all or nothing, trying to control everything, I put myself, without realizing, on the hunger and fullness diet. So when I ate past fullness, I thought I had failed. So therefore I'd think, F it, eat everything in the kitchen and start intuitive eating again tomorrow. If I ate something when I wasn't physically hungry, like for example, someone had brought a cookie into work and I wanted to eat the cookie because it tastes good and that's part of my mental health, I would think, oh no, I failed at intuitive eating because I'm not physically hungry. Therefore, F it, fall off the wagon, binge eat, and then start again tomorrow. So what I do, it does have the foundations of intuitive eating, but ultimately food freedom is being relaxed around food. I don't care what you eat. I care about how you feel about what you eat. And when you feel relaxed around food, something magical happens. You want to choose nourishing, balancing meals without the punishment and the restriction and the shoulding all over yourself. Like, it's so crazy how it all falls into place.
That totally makes sense. 100%. I do agree with you. However, I was just trying to picture myself, like the worst thing I was ever guilty of is being all good throughout the week. But then on the weekend, you're like, no, I'm going out to the restaurant. I'm going to have a nice glass of wine. I'm going to have a dessert or two or three. And if you're at a birthday party or at, like, my husband is Swedish, or like at this, they put this massive Swedish table when you can eat all you want, like at a Christmas party, right? You just end up overeating, and then all of a sudden it like sends all your good eating down the drain throughout the week. Like, is this also a disorder? Because I'm sure many people do that. They're being really good throughout the week, but then over the weekend, they just go crazy. Is there something you can help people with? Because it's kind of also restricting yourself, right? And then on the weekend, they go crazy over food and alcohol and everything else. What is it? Like, how would you classify that? And how would you perhaps help in this situation?
That is disordered eating. I mean, I don't really like labels because ultimately it can help someone to understand, like, okay, I have got an issue here that I need to sort out to enable me to live a happy and healthy life. But in my opinion, that is disordered eating because the restriction in the week, both physical and emotional. So during the week, like I've been through this. So I say if it was a Wednesday and I crave chocolate, I'd be like, well, no, I can't have chocolate because it's Wednesday. So it needs to be at least Friday evening, and then I'll allow myself the chocolate. That's restriction. Your body's thinking, because your body, like I said before, it reacts to the cycle, what's going on psychologically for you. So your body's like, oh, there's a shortage of food, even though you're eating enough chicken and rice and broccoli. If you're not eating what you want, your body thinks there's a shortage and there's a famine coming. So then when you do get to Friday night, I mean, Natalia, I literally used to have on my phone a countdown timer to Friday evening. This when I was allowed myself to eat the chocolate. And so then when people do get to the weekend and they think F it and they press that big red F it button, they fall off the wagon, they know they're going to start again on Monday. So then what do? Emotionally, psychologically, and physically, they eat everything they can because they're not allowed it if it's a Monday. And the cycle continues. And so the only way to get out of this cycle, and this is the scariest part, this is why support is so necessary, is to allow all foods all the time. Because another quote that I love, you can diet and binge until you die, or you can heal your relationship with food and your body. Both are hard and only one is worth it. I no longer binge. I literally have a piece of chocolate and then I'm done, because I'm no longer restricting it, but I had to go through that allowance and eat chocolate if it was a bloody Monday or a Wednesday, and relax and tell myself it's okay, dealing with the fear of weight gain. There's a ton of body image work that I do with my clients, because you cannot live in food freedom unless you do body image work, because the two go hand in hand.
So, okay, then I have a tricky one for you. You saying, all right, I eat literally whatever I want. This is my approach. And then because I allow myself everything, my body knows, my mind knows there are no restrictions to any kind of food in my life, whether it's Monday or Wednesday or Sunday or any day of the week, any time of the day. How do you deal? And I'm sure many people will have this question in their mind now and will be like, aha, how do you deal with the fear of gaining weight? Because, you know, we ladies, we still want to be attractive, to look, which lady does not want to feel, you know, her best, like to feel attractive and like in a good shape, healthy, beautiful. How do you deal with the fear of gaining weight? Because inevitably you might, right? Like, well, that's what many people would think. Like, if I eat everything, I'm just going to be fat.
Yeah, so it's both and. So to answer the last question first, and I'll go into the fear of weight gain. I thought that too. So when I got to rock bottom, so I got to the point where I was so scared of my own head, my own thoughts, I literally wanted to check myself into a psychiatric hospital. I didn't want to be me anymore. I wasn't suicidal, that it wasn't that. It was like I was so done with, since I was 9 years old, I started dieting. So from the age of 9 to 30, yeah, which is obviously a big problem. That's when it started, before then, even for me. So from the age of 9 to 30, I had a disordered relationship with food. I didn't even know what it was like to have a normal relationship with food. I thought that you was born, and so therefore you just spend your whole entire life trying to be as skinny as possible, because that means you're loved, that means you're accepted, that means you're wanted, that means you're desired, that means you're successful, all the things that society teaches as well. And so in terms of like when I started my food freedom journey, I thought, you know what, I have no idea if I'm going to be able to cope with the weight gain that will potentially come, but I cannot continue like this anymore. But we all have our own set point weight. This is another like great discovery that's the science is backing up now, and it's very exciting. Like, this is my set point weight for, so those that, if I don't know if this is always going to be video completely, but like, who check me out, this is my set point weight. I literally eat whatever the hell I want in any amount I want with no restrictions. I thought that I would just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger, literally till I would pop or die alone or just hate myself forever, right? Everyone has that fear when they come to work with me. Of course they do, because since they were born, they've been told by society and those around us that fat is bad and thin is good. And if you're fat, you won't be loved. And the biggest fears like that we can imagine are linked to the size of your body. However, everyone has a different body size and shape, like I discussed earlier. And so your body set point weight, and when I say set point, that is the weight your body wants to be naturally without suppressing your food, without dieting, without binging. And the only way you stop binging is by stopping dieting. It's a healthy weight for you. Everyone's different. This is my set point weight. And so even if I could force feed myself and like purposely put weight on, but the second I went back to normal eating and just ate what I wanted when I wanted, I would lose weight to get to this point. I could also diet and count calories and lose weight like with restriction. The second I ate like normal again and listen to my cravings in my body, I would end back here. Your body's so clever. So if I ate more food than what I needed, first of all, I'd fidget more without realizing. My body temperature would rise. My metabolism would rise. Your body wants to keep you in a range. The same thing if I try and lose weight, my metabolism will slow down. I will naturally sit more. My body temperature will lower. Like your body knows what it's doing. And so those of women that come to me, they don't keep getting bigger forever and ever, because when they arrive at their set point weight, sometimes that's smaller than when they come to me because they're constantly binging every night. Do we have a set point weight? So I'll let you ask me any questions around that before I go into the fear of fatness.
Yeah, no, that is actually, I wanted to ask you about the set point weight, but does that mean that, for example, if I come not in the current state of pregnancy, right, but there's just like with a normal body, right? If I come to you, does that mean that I'm going to put on weight with you? Or does that mean I'm going to go down in weight? So like, how would people know when they come to you? That's a tricky one. How would people know when they come to you what weight they're going to get? Because so many people, they are concentrating like on the number, even though everybody says like weight is just a number, you're just supposed to be healthy. As ladies, we still have that. Like we were born and raised with the number in our head that this is the weight we need. I always want that number of what, just for the example sake, 57 on my scales, and that's all I want to see and nothing else. And like they kind of get stuck in that number. So with you, when they come to you, what do you tell them? How do you tell them that perhaps you're going to gain a little bit of weight, or perhaps you're going to lose a little bit of weight? How do you deal with their objections? Because perhaps what you tell them is not what they want to hear. That's a tricky one.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so before I have a consultation call with someone, one of the things that I ask for them to do before they show up for the call, and I offer a 2-hour call for free, is for them to read my website, like from front to back, if you like, so they understand what I stand for and where I'm coming from. Because my website and I do not promise weight loss. It might happen. You might gain weight, you might stay the same weight, you might lose weight. That's the scariest thing, right? Of course, it's so petrifying, but women come to me when they've had enough of 40, 50 years of dieting and binging, and their weight just yo-yoing up and down. And that is worse for your health than being in a fat body for your whole entire life. Losing and gaining, like, and so when they've had enough and they no longer want to keep restricting, or they physically can't. It got to the stage for me, I used to be able to diet like a professional, and then when I got to 30, I literally couldn't diet for an hour. It was like the ability to diet had just been taken away from me through all the failures and all the self-hate and everything. And so I work with women who are ready to do this work. People listening might perhaps, let's be honest, I would say 95% of people in society, unfortunately, are either dieting, thinking about dieting, or trying to maintain their weight that they've achieved through dieting. And I'm here, I'm the 5% that is like, F that. I'm going to be an authentic version of me. And one of my favorite mantras is strong, authentic women do not suppress their natural body size. That doesn't have to mean that you'll be fat. What it does mean, though, is that you run into your fear, you surrender, And your job is to take care of yourself physically, mentally, emotionally, in every health that is important to you. And your body's going to be whatever she's going to be. And that's scary, but it's so liberating.
I have a question here I want to ask you. So how do you prevent people from how do you prevent it's difficult one to ask how do you so say you've got a person, the person came to you and said, that's it, I want a healthy relationship with myself, but it's very easy to fall into the trap when you decide you eat everything and a lot of it, and with this lack of limitations, or like lack of thinking, so we say, right? Because you can also eat you can eat different things, right? So with if we withdraw the limits, the person will inevitably, or not inevitably, but some people can gain weight, because if all they eat is fast food, for example, for an enormous amount of time and just indulging in it, right? They will inevitably become unhealthy. So how do you, and they will forget that, you know, taking care of your body is also very important as taking care of your mind too. So how do you tell them that, or how do you help them to understand that they also need to go to the gym, for example, or if they hate gym, they need to go for walks, they need to move their bodies? Is there, how do you prevent them falling into that trap? Then, okay, that's it, Victoria told me I'm allowed everything, I'm going to eat everything just because I can, just because I want. How do you prevent them into falling into that trap and becoming even more unhealthy? And how do you get them to understand that the food freedom is an approach towards like self-love, really, right? So it's an approach towards like making yourself feel good about yourself. But like fast food every day for, you know, for a Monday, breakfast, lunch, and dinner is not. It is. Some could think it's food freedom, but it probably is not really. And that there are other things you also need to do. So how do you get people or stop people from falling into this trap?
Allowance creates space for choice, meaning if, and I want to ask you this question as well, Natalia, if you were forced to eat fast food for breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a week, do you think you would feel great in your body?
Oh God, no. I cannot eat fast food. Like me and fast food, we are not friends, because if I eat a burger from a fast food chain, for example, right, I'm going to be sick, and physically sick for 3 days afterwards. Like, and it was just one meal. But like if I if it's 3 meals a day, I will be probably down with this massive stomach ache already after the second fast food of the meal of the day.
Exactly. So, I mean, everyone is different. You're very connected to your body. A lot of the work that we do together is connecting to your body, intuitively connecting to that. I encourage clients to move their body if it feels good. When we start saying you need to or you should, you lose your own power. You're not empowered then. So when I say swap the word should, so when clients are like, yeah, I should start the gym, I offer a reframe. How about instead of saying I should go to the gym, how about saying I get to, or I could, because that brings the empowerment back, and then allowance creates space for choice. So I would feel shit as well if I had fast food three times a day for a week. But the whole point in food freedom and body love is to feel amazing. So as much as I love chocolate, and I still do, I don't eat it 3 times a day because my blood sugar will be all over the place, and so I eat it in the evening with a cup of herbal tea, just a little bit before I go to bed. That's good for me, but I couldn't get to that place without allowing. And so a huge part of this work is if someone's coming to me and they're currently eating a lot of fast food, like I said before, I would put all my life savings on the fact that they're judging themselves in their head for doing so, which is creating the psychological, biological connection reaction. They're having the Last Supper syndrome every evening because they're going to, quote, start again tomorrow. And therefore, they're in this fast food trap. They feel shit about themselves. They hate themselves, and they think, you know, they need to come to someone to help them. I can help them, but we need to allow the fast food still, and connect to their bodies and ask, how does that feel in your body? Knowing that you can have fast food every day, 10 times a day if you want to, do you actually want to? that's where the magic happens. We always want what we're told we can't have, whether we tell ourselves we can't have it or whether someone else tells us we can't have it. That's why offering the word should, swapping it to I get to. If I'm saying as a coach, you should be working out 5 days a week, it might work short term. Again, we're looking at the behavior aspect here. Whereas if I'm saying you could or you get to, what benefits will you get if you do that? The choice is up to you. The people feel empowered to make the decision for themselves. They change at an identity level. They believe they can do it because they want to do it. And everything changes for the rest of their life.
I totally with you on the phrase, I get to do stuff. We actually, my husband and I were spoken about it a few days ago, and he corrected me because I was like, oh, I really should do that. He's like, no, Natalia, it wasn't a different topic of the conversation, but I know the power of this phrase. And like when you said it, totally clicked in my head. And it was something about, I really didn't want to do it. And I was like, I really should go and do it. He's like, no, you get to, because so many people don't get to do what you're going to do right now. And I get goosebumps because it was like, it completely rocked my world. It changed everything. The whole perspective changed. And it was something about an aspect of our life, something like to pick up the kids or drop them off somewhere, or like one had to go to one birthday, another to another one. And I was like, I really should make it happen. He's like, no, you get to make it happen, because so many people cannot even have kids. And we have like two, and the third one in the way, and you get to spend time with them. And I was like, oh my God, yes, I do, I get to. And then you go and you do it with a completely different set of mind, and you actually appreciate that you get to. Yeah, no, it works magic in all aspects of life. I'm sure, like when it comes to eating, it also works exactly the same manner. So I'm going to go back. And I think it's going to be the main objective for many, many, many people to take your approach. They will say, but what about weight gaining? We are still scared that we're going to gain weight with you.
Oh,
yeah, we disappeared here for a sec.
yeah.
All
I
right.
didn't hear your question. It froze a while.
Yeah, no worries. We'll just have to continue. That'll be about weight gaining again.
I'm so glad that you brought this back around. Do you want to ask the question again in case it?
Let me ask the question and we'll get it going. So everything is very clear and you do make sense on all the points. And I do agree with like 99.9% of everything that you say. And perhaps that 0.01% is my objection. And I think many people will have similar kind of objection. Like this is probably the main objection before they would come to you. And everybody's scared of still gaining weight. So how do you help people to get rid of that fear of gaining weight?
100%, the best question ever. Like, I don't know if anyone has seen The Matrix. Have you seen The Matrix, Natalia, the movie?
I did my best to see it for quite a few times. I never managed.
And that's fine. So in order to just describe, because it helps me to describe like my point of view, and then I'm going to go into how I help clients navigate actual weight gain and the fear of weight gain, because both are different. So The Matrix, those of you that haven't seen it, The Matrix is like, the world is like almost like a game. It's almost like an illusion that you don't know you're in. It feels real and you're in this big illusion. And someone comes to you outside of the Matrix and offers you a red pill or a blue pill. The blue pill is the pill that will take you back into the Matrix. You'll go back into society, back into diet culture, back into the fear of fatness, back into everything we're already in, and dieting until you die and trying to stay skinny and all of that pressure. Or you can take the red pill, which is literally almost like I don't offer my clients pills, but metaphorically, I'm like, right, I'm here with the red pill. Are you ready to to not go out of society, because this is a big part of what I teach. Like, we do live in the world we live in. So let's not pretend that we don't live in the world we do, because that's not going to be helpful either. However, if you're ready to take this red pill, you're ready to start diving into the biggest virus there is, and that is fat phobia. And you caught this virus from society the second you were born. Everyone has this virus. I don't care if people say they haven't. They have had this virus at some point. I was so far gone with this virus, which is why I was in the eating disorders. I'm now cured in quotes from this virus because I've done this work. So the fear of weight gain takes being happy to, or being willing to change your beliefs and your behaviors inevitably, and then also being happy to have different beliefs compared to most people in society. If you're ready to have different beliefs to those around you, but live happy and free and liberated, that's when we can get to work. Because the fear of weight gain is different to actually gaining weight. You can gain weight and still be scared of weight gain. Now, fear is all in the mind. There's a difference between danger and fear. If you're being chased by a tiger, like however many hundreds of years ago, that's danger, and you feel like fear in your body, and you act, basically you run away or hide or whatever you do when a tiger's there. I have no idea these days what you do, right? In terms of like weight gain, the fear of gaining weight, why are we so scared of gaining weight? Because we as humans, love and acceptance is an innate human need. However, thinness is not. But we think we will get love and acceptance of ourselves and from others by being thin, because it's mirrored back to us in society. Go back only 150 years ago, fatness was celebrated. Why was it celebrated? Because it comes down to social class. It was very hard to buy food. Most people were poor. And so therefore, if you could be fat, you were seen as rich and prosperous, and so therefore you were admired and people wanted to be like you. So the statues with the women with like the tummy rolls and all of that. However, over time, like, food is abundant, sugar is abundant, it's now harder to be skinny. In fact, 5% of the world population has the ideal, quote, body size and body shape that we're all trying to get to. 5% naturally have that. So when I talked about set point weight, they 5% of the world naturally have that without doing anything with their food, right? And so when we try to get to this idealistic body type, or at least the thinnest version of ourselves, what do? We spend money in society to try to get to that thinness. And so unfortunately, it's very, very money driven. I'm not saying every single person in the diet industry is money driven, but as a society as the whole, like, why are we even selling diet programs in the first place? Yes, there's more science coming out, but don't you think it's interesting that the obesity problems got worse, yet we have more diets than we ever have done before? There is an absolute correlation. So what I'm saying is, first of all, you need to have had enough with the diet and the binging. You need to be ready to change. That's number one. The second thing is, are you ready and willing to change your beliefs around what weight gain means, around what fatness means, around what thinness needs? If yes, we then get to work. We start off with where you learned the beliefs that fat is bad and thin is good. There's going to be a lot of body shame and a lot of trauma. And this, I don't say that lightly, a lot of trauma that people have experienced. And we get little t traumas when we watch a TV program and the fat person is being ridiculed or bullied in the TV program. No wonder we're so scared of fatness, because everywhere we go, it's seen as bad. And so we have to be ready and willing to face that fear for ourselves and for other people. And it gets better, because I thought that, okay, my food freedom journey, I'm ready to start. However, I'm going to be in a bigger body. I'm going to not like it, but at least I'll have food freedom. No, you get to have both. And so when you do the deep body image work and the trauma release and the emotional release, and get to be confident in the body you have, regardless of how thin you are, your fear, because we teach our mind how to be scared of weight gain through society and cultural things. When we face our fears and our brain is rewired, we're no longer scared of weight gain. We start to feel happy and confident in the body we have, and we have food freedom, and we stay at our natural set point weight anyway. So it's whatever you make weight gain mean, is it the ultimate of everything I teach? What does it mean to be in a bigger body? How is your life going to be different if you're bigger or smaller? Are you ready to let go of the need to be accepted and admired by strangers? Because people that love you are going to love you anyway, regardless of whether you're big or small. It's letting go of the innate need that we think we need to be loved and desired in society. And I say that's BS.
That is such a healthy approach towards eating. Like, I do love it. I do love it. I never thought about it that way. Like, you've opened a whole new world for, for the it's like a new approach for me towards food. And like, perhaps I was doing something intuitively myself, something like this, right? Like, I've never had a fear of food, let's put it that way. But I did love dieting, let's put it also that way, right? So I was like, no, I'm not scared of food, but yes, I do need to restrict my calories. Or so I thought, but it is an interesting one. The last question I'd like to ask you, how do you help people? Like, do you, in order to learn this food freedom and in order to learn to love your body, when people want help, they obviously need somebody who is knowledgeable, such as yourself, at it. What do you offer? Do people need private coaching or group coaching, or perhaps a pre-recorded program? What is it that you think amongst your product line is the best suitable for somebody to start to get on this journey?
Great question. So it depends on, with eating disorders, disordered eating, people that are ready to love and accept the skin they're in, because ultimately as well, I laugh because women in society don't only need to be thin, they also need to stay young. So what happens when you get older and you get wrinkles? It's exhausting to count calories and try and restrict yourself. And it's literally like so exhausting. There's a world out there that doesn't involve a calorie app. That doesn't, I mean, I look after my skin, but it doesn't matter if there's a wrinkle. And it's not a case of pretending you don't care. The work I do with my clients, they actually don't care. They love themselves and take care of themselves, and their bodies are going to change. And we get older. Imagine getting older and being so free and liberated and loving who you are, that you're not stressing and obsessing over food and your face wrinkles, right? So that's what I wanted to share. But it depends on how much someone's struggling. So if someone had an eating disorder, so anorexia, bulimia, like binge eating disorder, it's really negatively affecting their life. They're obsessed with food. It's like taking over their life. I would recommend one-to-one coaching, because of course you get me at the end of WhatsApp 24/7. We have weekly calls. Like, you become my person to serve. I take 8 one-to-one clients at a time because of the support I give. If you're in the diet binge cycle, if you just really dislike your body, the program and the group program that I offer is my heart and soul, like from everything I've learned poured into this program, with audios, worksheets, workbooks, videos, and they can go through it in their own pace with lifetime access. And this is also lifetime. The group coaching is a month call as a group with me forever. So it's not 3 months, it's not like however long, because you don't need to be in it forever. That's the point. What I do, it's not a case you need me forever. You need me for as long as you need me. On average in the group, it's about 4 to 6 months, and you're still welcome, but you won't need it because you've already learned and you're happy off living your life and helping others probably do the same. One-to-one coaching is only 3 months because of course it's so intensive. Like, we go through a lot, and it's, with the one-to-one, we do a lot of trauma release and like get really specific to the individual. So I offer group coaching and one-to-one coaching, and they can check it all out on my website. But I have so those of you that are looking for free resources, I give so much value in my podcast, which is called the Body Love Binge. And if you're a person that can like really be like, right, I'm going to do this, but I want to do it by myself, there's everything you need almost in the podcast. If you're that kind of learner, I give so much away. But for those that are looking for the next step, it will be my group coaching. And then of course, if I have availability for one-to-one, then we can have a chat then. But I'm so happy to speak to people in my DMs. Like, I genuinely love what I do, and I'm happy to speak to anybody and help for free as well.
Well, we will put all the links to everything, to every programs like that you've mentioned right now under this video. So don't worry, guys. You can just go under the video, just scroll, you were going to scroll up and you will see all the links below. And you can pick your option. Podcast sounds like a dream to me, because you can listen to it anywhere and you've got such pleasant attitude and voice. And I'm sure it's a pleasure to listen to you. But lost completely what I wanted to ask.
Brain fog.
Oh God, so there was that. There was completely. I was going to ask you something and I totally forgot. It's just 8 months is not a joke anymore.
I'm gonna say.
All right, so we've covered that. Well, let's just wrap it up then. If I cannot even remember what I wanted to ask. Oh yes, but if anybody has a question, just one random question, because people podcasts are great and it's a lot of information, right? I'm sure they can find their answers, but if they just want to ask you one question, like where can they find you? Is it DM, or they can comment under your post, or they can send you an email? What's the best way to find you? Or do you even answer those questions yourself, or you have to join the program for that?
No, so I do have a virtual assistant, but I personally am at the end of every email and every direct message because I am my brand. I'm the expertise. I'm the love behind everything that I give. So it didn't make any sense, even though my business has grown a lot, to have someone else behind the DMs because it's me that is the whole of my business, right? So if you send me an email or a direct message on Instagram, Facebook is also okay, but it does something weird with the message request if we're not friends, so I might not see it. So send me a DM on Instagram or email me, and I usually answer personally with a voice note from a DM on Instagram. So it's obvious that it's me because here's my voice, hi. And email is always me as well, and they can ask me any question as much as they like I genuinely love to help. And also it helps me to see what questions are being asked, because then I can also make my content to help other people that are going to have the same questions. So feel free, I love to receive questions.
Thank you very much, Victoria. This was very informative, very interesting. I am sure it's definitely a new approach towards food for many, many, many people that never even thought things like this exist, and they're actually possible. So I hope that if anybody has a question, you guys can go and ask Victoria, and Victoria will be able to help you.
I will. And I'm so grateful for this platform for me to be able to share this message that might be so mind-blowing for some people. I know it was for me. And I'm here waving a flag, there is another way that isn't dieting, and you can genuinely, deeply love yourself and your body and eat whatever the hell it is you want to eat. It's amazing. So come and join me if you're ready. And I cannot wait to show you the way.